What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to another episode of Seahawks Now, your home for all things daily Seattle Seahawks news, updates, and rumors. Today, it begins. Training camp is underway. 2025 Seattle Seahawks training camp. We have a preview, plus we have a 53-man roster projection coming from ESPN's Brady Henderson. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to discuss Jamal Adams signing with Las Vegas. Can he revive his career with Pete Carroll over in Las Vegas? All that and more right here today on Seahawks Now. And let's get into it, guys. Training camp has begun. Brady Henderson has a piece over on ESPN previewing training camps. Let's check this out. He says that this time last year, Geno Smith was stewing behind the scenes over his contract. DK Metcalf had been unhappy as well, to the point that he requested a trade, one of several times the star receiver asked out of Seattle in recent years. That is not things that we knew last year. We had no idea that Geno Smith was, quote, stewing behind the scenes. We also had no idea that DK Metcalf requested multiple trades out of Seattle. We never heard about that, so it just goes to show the things that don't get reported until they've already happened. Obviously, they have now been traded. Smith is on the Raiders. Metcalf is on the Steelers. Ryan Grubb is out. Clint Kubiak is in. Lots of new faces. Here are some of the question marks that they have to ask. Number one, how quickly can Sam Darnold and the revamped offense come together? He writes, McDonald's defense returned almost every key player. That's true. However, the offense is a lot different. They've added Darnold, Kupp, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Out is Tyler Lockett. Out is Metcalf. Out is Laken Tomlinson. He's been replaced by Gray Zabel. Out is Noah Fant. He's been replaced with new rookie Elijah Arroyo. There's going to be 5 new starters, possibly 6 if Robbie Outs also wins the fullback job, plus a new offensive coordinator. So the only returners of the offense is the rest of the line, basically, and then Kenneth Walker and Jackson Smith-Njigba. 3 players to watch. They have Elijah Arroyo, Cooper Kupp, and Darnold as their 3 players to watch. Looking at position battles, running back is listed as a position battle. That's interesting. This is what he writes. He says, quote, no one with the Seahawks has said that the running back job is up for grabs, and there's no real indication that it is. But nothing seems certain in Seattle's new backfield, considering the new coordinator, Walker's injury history, and Zach Charbonnet's emergence last season in his absence. Interesting. Okay, so they are basically saying that they don't, even though they haven't heard anything about Kenneth Walker being replaced by Zach Charbonnet as running back 1, they're just saying that because Zach had a better season last year, they think that he should be. And I understand where that's coming from. At the same time, I think if Kenneth Walker stays healthy, I do think he's a better running back, but we'll see. Then they have right guard. The Seahawks almost certainly won't repeat the unusual approach last year when they basically just rotated through guys. They're projecting Anthony Bradford probably could win it, or Christian Haynes. He worked in there last year. They also have Satawa Laumea, who could enter the competition. He did start the last 6 games of the season for Seattle. At center, it's going to be Oluwatimi, we think, although Jalen Sundle also might have an opportunity there. Then they also have third cornerback as a position battle. So obviously, we know Reek Woolen and Devon Witherspoon are going to be your 1 and 2. But after that, the Seahawks are between Shaquille Griffin, who just returned to the team on a 1-year, $3 million deal. He's competing with Josh Jobe, of who will be that number 3 guy. And Josh Jobe was kind of that guy last year. So we'll see. It really comes down to, can Griffin take a spot on his old team back? All right, now we've talked about these kind of roster battles, but I want to actually look at the roster projection. ESPN has projected that 53-man roster. This is according to, again, Brady Henderson. Here's what he's got. Quarterback, he has 3. Sam Darnold, Drew Lock, and Jalen Milroe in that order, which is interesting. He has Drew Lock as the backup, Milroe as that third option. At running back, he has Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, Robbie Outs, who is more of a fullback, but he's listed with the running backs, and Damian Martinez. So interesting. No Kenny McIntosh. Kenny McIntosh does not make the cut on this roster projection. Tight ends, we have 4. He has us keeping 4 tight ends. That's Elijah Arroyo, AJ Barner, Eric Sauber, and Brady Russell, who, if you've never heard of him, he is also a fullback, actually. He comes out of Colorado, entering his 3rd season in the NFL. Hasn't really done anything with the Seahawks. Has played in 26 games. He has made 11 tackles, 6 assists, played mostly on special teams, but they do have him making the roster. Then we look at receivers. This is where they have only five receivers, which is interesting. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Torrey Horton, and Steven Sims. Interestingly, there, Ricky White missing out on making the roster, that seventh round draft pick out of UNLV, who I was very excited about, but they do have him missing the roster. Also, by the way, Jake Bobo getting cut in this projection. So the Seahawks only keep taking five receivers instead of the usual six or seven. And they do go with Steven Sims in this projection, which I'm not so sure about. Steven Sims had a decent season in 2019 and 2020 with the Commanders, but in 2022 with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he only caught 14 passes for 104 yards. The next year in 2023 with Houston, he caught only 3 passes for 25 yards. And then in 2024 with Houston, he did not catch any passes. He did make one rushing attempt for 7 yards, and he was a decent returner. In 21 attempts, he went for 122 punt return yards, and in 7 attempts, 195 kickoff yards. So I guess they are projecting that we're going to keep Steven Sims on to be our return man, but they don't really have, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that either. We look to the offensive line. They have the Seahawks keeping 10 linemen: Charles Cross, Gray Zabel, Olu Oluwatimi. That's kind of your starting interior guys. Anthony Bradford, Abraham Lucas. And then the backups: Josh Jones, Jalen Sundle, Christian Haynes, Satawa Lamea, and Bryce Cabeldue does make the roster. Bryce Cabeldue is obviously a rookie 6th round pick out of Kansas. So they do project him to make the roster, which is interesting, but not our 7th round pick, Ricky White. But that's what they've got there. The interior, then we move on to the defense. So they have us keeping a total of 7, 11, 16, 26 offensive players. They actually have a few more defensive guys. On the interior defensive line: Leonard Williams, Jaron Reed, Jonathan Hankins, Byron Murphy, and Brandon Peely making the team. Brandon Peely is one of those guys that I'm not sure about. He's definitely kind of on the outskirts. Last year he was with Miami. He played 8 games. He made 4 total tackles. I'm not sure if Brandon Peely is a guy that sticks around. Honestly, I'm not sure if you need 5 interior defensive linemen, especially when the ones you have are good, right? Williams is really good. Byron Murphy is really good. Jaron Reed is good. And I think Jonathan Hankins can kind of be that 4th guy. Either way, we look at the outside linebacker. They've got DeMarcus Lawrence, Uchenna Nwosu, Boye Mafe, Derek Hall, and they're projecting that the Seahawks will get another outside linebacker, a player not currently on the roster. That is really interesting, and it makes me wonder, do they know something that we don't? Are we trading for Micah Parsons? Are we trading for Trey Hendrickson? I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to do it at this point, but maybe, because they are projecting a 5th outside linebacker who's not on the roster. That's really interesting. And then for the inside linebackers, they got 4. It's Ernest Jones, Tyrese Knight, Drake Thomas, and Patrick O'Connell. Again, I feel like this is where you could maybe trim the fat a little bit if you wanted to include a 6th or 7th receiver, if you wanted to include Kenny McIntosh in there at running back. I think this is probably where you take from. You don't necessarily need 4 interior linebackers, especially when the Seahawks only play with 2 out at any given time. Patrick O'Connell, again, he's probably the odd man out if you only keep 3, because he just hasn't done very much. He has 3 tackles in his Seattle Seahawks career over the past 2 seasons. Just hasn't really done much with the team. And then you could also maybe cut out that 5th outside linebacker, considering they don't even know who it's going to be. I would say maybe don't project a player not on the roster to make the roster, and instead you could project a guy like Jake Bobo, who I think Jake Bobo deserves to be on this team, especially when we really only have 4 guys who are going to catch passes, if that's really the case. And then we look at the cornerback position. They do have us keeping 5 cornerbacks as well. It's Devon Witherspoon, Reek Woolen, Shaquille Griffin, Josh Jobe, and Shamar Jean-Charles. I think that's probably the right move. I think those are the right 5 guys. At safety, we end up keeping Julian Love, Kobe Bryant, Nick Emenwari, DeAnthony Bell, and Ty Okada. And then on special teams, Michael Dixon and Jason Myers, in addition to Chris Stoll, who is the Seattle Seahawks' new long snapper. Yeah, interesting roster projection. I feel like I've already given my thoughts on that, but ultimately, at the end of the day, I do think that probably Jake Bobo makes the team. I think McIntosh might be a toss-up, and I think that there is an opportunity for Ricky White to make the roster as well, just because, clearly they saw something in him, and I think he does have some valuable skills at receiver. I mean, he had a really good season last year for UNLV. I'd love to see him in Seattle Seahawks blue. So if you're adding in those three, where are you taking away? At the end of the day, I'm probably getting rid of Brady Russell. I don't think you need two tight ends on this roster. Excuse me, I don't think you need two fullbacks. They have Robbie Outs as a fullback listed at running back, and then they have Brady Russell at fullback listed as a tight end. I think I'm just going to keep Robbie Outs, the rookie. I'd probably use Brady Russell on my practice squad, but I think that's what I do. And then I would also get rid of Brandon Peely, and I would only roll with 4 interior defensive linemen. And then I would also get rid of the player not currently on the roster at outside linebacker. And if you do pick up a 5th outside linebacker, then we deal with it when we get that player. But right now we don't have that player. But again, I do think it's really interesting that he is projecting a player not on the roster is going to make the team. And again, it makes me wonder, is there something that he knows that we don't know yet? That's very possible. All right, let's move on, guys. Jamal Adams, this is the last storyline of the day. Jamal Adams has signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. Very just quickly giving my thoughts on this. I don't think he's very good anymore. I think the Seahawks moved on from him at the right time. It's very interesting to me that Pete Carroll wants to bring him back. He played with him for 4 seasons in Seattle. He played in just 34 games in Seattle. He did make a Pro Bowl in 2020, but injuries really hurt him in 2022. Game 1, he got hurt. He played 9 games in 2023 and then got released. Last year, he did split time between the Titans and the Lions, but he only played in 5 games. Yeah, not really sure what I think the Raiders' plan is here. I think the Raiders, honestly, it just seems like they just keep on signing former Seahawks. So be on the lookout for the Quandre Diggs news soon. I only say that a half joking because I actually think that's possible. But with that all being said, guys, let's wrap things up for today. As always, if you like this video, subscribe down below. It really helps the channel out. And leave a like, leave a comment down below. Who do you think gets left out? And how mad would you be on a scale of 1 to 10 if Jake Bobo missed out on the Seattle Seahawks 53-man roster? I don't know if I'd be mad necessarily. I would just be disappointed because I do like watching Jake Bobo play. And he had a good year last year, I think. So I don't know. That's just me. Let me know down in the comments down below. And as always, guys, until the next time, go Seahawks.